Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk 2 of Socially Distant Norway D-week 2020. We all wish we could have been in the fjords and in the mountains of Norway right now, but talk in the living room will have to do. This week, we're looking at the attributes of God, and I'm going to be picking off from where Steve left off with talk number 1, and we're going to be looking at God as being incomparable. That means that he is beyond comparison. There's no match for him and he has no equal. Steve explained quite well in the previous talk. There's no set of characteristics or descriptions that put together can fully explain God and his character. Further on, we will be going and basing our talk on that and explore how the fullness of God cannot be compared to anything or anyone else. And we'll be looking at particular examples in the Bible where this is exemplified. The first place we're going to look at to understand how important this particular concept is for God is the Ten Commandments. They are given to Moses in Exodus chapter 20, and the very first two that God chooses to lay out for his people are that they shall have no other gods and that they shall have no idols. This is a very clear example of the role that God should have in the life of his people. For me personally, growing up, I felt that these two were quite similar, and later on I realized that they are indeed linked together. The first one emphasizes that God has a profound desire and passion for exclusivity in our hearts. He doesn't want second place. He doesn't even settle for joint first. He wants all of our attention, devotion, thoughts, emotion, all of it, and number one in all. It's further explained in the New Testament in Jacob chapter 4 verse 5, where the Bible tells us that he jealously longs for the Spirit he has caused to dwell in us. Furthermore, God is described as a jealous God in Deuteronomy chapter 4 verses 23 and 24. It goes the following way: "Be careful not to forget the covenant of the Lord your God that he made with you. Do not make yourselves an idol in the form of anything the Lord your God has forbidden. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God." Perhaps you also struggle with this definition of a jealous God and aren't sure if you recognize him. Well, the traditional use of the word is meant to distinguish jealousy, which is actually the fear of losing something that's important to us, from envy, which is the desire for something that doesn't actually belong to us. Over time, these have come mingled together and started becoming interchanged. But when Moses describes God as a jealous God, he is describing a righteous jealousy for those who are rightfully his. It's the kind of jealousy that's natural and right for a husband or a wife to show towards their spouse, to the one they made vows of love and of honor. And God is actually the only one worthy of receiving our worship. And when we choose, consciously or not, to put other things ahead of him, we create idols in our lives. And this is where the second commandment comes in. It's also a trend throughout the Bible and ever since in human history, where people have chosen to worship the creation rather than the creator. And it's put through in our lives in many ways, in many forms, from the amount of time that we invest and pressure that we put on ourselves to succeed in our professional lives, where we take so much of our identity from the successes and the implicit failures that come in these areas, to the excessive attention that we give out to the image that we present to the world through social media, or how much we invest in our relationships with our friends, even romantic relationships. Isaiah actually goes into a lot of detail about why it is important to understand this character of God as being a jealous God. And in chapter 40, verse 18, he says the following: "With whom then will you compare God? To what image will you liken him?" And then continues on in verses 25 and 26. "To whom will you compare me? Or who is my equal, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens. Who created all these? He who brings out the starry host one by one and calls forth each of them by name. Because of his great power and mighty strength, not one of them is missing. So the Bible lays out quite clearly the role that the creation and the creator should play in our lives. Personally, for me, this is a topic that I struggle to keep on top of and frequently find myself caught up with how much I'm accomplishing or how much I'm giving my all to things of this world rather than to the one who made all things. And I feel it is an active learning process. We need to keep reminding ourselves of who God is. And again, Isaiah offers up quite a few good verses for this. He proves that God is simply beyond comparison. Compared to him, the nations are like a drop in a bucket and dust on the scales, Isaiah 40:15. The truth is, he has no equal. He says, I am the Lord, that is my name. I will not yield my glory to another or my praise to idols, Isaiah 42:8. To conclude this talk, I think because this is quite a personal topic, it's quite important to take a few moments of introspection and think of the particular areas where we struggle to pay attention to what is actually important. And I think we all have particular inklings as to what we might need to do differently. So I would like to thank you for listening to this talk and encourage you to take a couple of minutes to just think of the areas in your lives where you feel that you could probably change a few things. Thank you.